This is the Unlimited Hydroplane High Performance Corner. A closer look at the fastest race boats in the world.
Jim, give me a quick tour of some of the most significant safety features on this cockpit.
Well, in the enclosed cockpit, Don, we have to have a lot of things to be able to get out of here, and also a lot of safety items to help us along. And one of the main things I have is an oxygen rebreather. I rebreathe my own air, but it's replenished with the 20% of your oxygen. We have naturally fire systems that floods the cockpit and the engine compartment in case of fire. That's manually operated by myself.
Got the hatch down below?
We have, well, on the bottom here, in case the boat is upside down in the water, I can open this from the inside, or it can be opened from the outside by the safety team.
But how do you open the canopy?
Well, the canopy, I have a release lever right here on my left that I pull. The canopy will go up, and it's also can be opened from the outside, which in case of something would happen, I think that the safety team can do that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark.
Andy Coker of American Speedy Printing setting his stopwatch for the start of E2A. Got some rags being iced down. This is the 7-Eleven camp. Looks like they've got problems with overheating of maybe the gearbox. Let's see if we can hear from Steve Reynolds, the driver. He can tell us what's happening. Steve, problems in the gearbox.
Yeah, it looks like we might have had a failure in the oil cooler. I don't have an oil temperature gauge for the gearbox, just a pressure gauge. Pressure read fine, but as you can see, the gearbox is, the oil is almost boiling in there.
Well, plus you had to stay out there so long.
Yeah, it seemed like forever, you know.
So more than likely, we will not see the 7-Eleven in Heat 2A. Danny Walters, one of the crew members. Here's Jim Cropfeld getting wired in and belted in and buttoned down for 2A in the brand new Miss Budweiser. Jerry Hopp going out hoping to get some more points in the Oboy Alberto. And Scott Pierce already with 400 points today, going out hoping to get maybe another 400. And Andy Coker, American Speedy Printing. 6 boats are slated for the running of E2A. Andy Coker, as we said, a rookie in his first year of unlimited hydroplane racing. Todd Yarling in the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit, based out of Madison, Indiana. Jim Saddam, the owner of that boat. Jerry Hopp, pretty good day so far. Oboy Alberto had a great start in Heat 1A, the original running of that heat. Steve Reynolds in the Miss 7-Eleven with 300 points for the day. Would love to take a first here in 2A, if the boat will run. Jim Cropfeld, 3 times inducted into the APBA Hall of Champions. He's one of the best. And Scott Pierce of Executone Telephones out of Seattle, the young 30-year-old. We have 4 boats coming around the turn setting up for the start, so the 7-Eleven and the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit are not out there. It'll be a 4-boat heat, but it should be a good one. The Budweiser, Jim Cropfeld, you heard the gun. Here comes the Executone Telephones for the start of Heat 2A. Executone Telephones, second from the left. The Budweiser on the right of your screen in lane number 1 as they go around the first turn. This could be a great race between the Bud and the Executone, fairly close in qualifying times, 1:21 and 1:25 respectively. Budweiser coming in at 1:25 as he goes around the turn. Look at the Executone, very close to the Budweiser in lane number 2. The Bud with that enclosed cockpit and Jim Cropfeld at the wheel. Going down the back chute, good race. There's Scotty Pierce on the outside going down the back chute as they head into that second turn. Very turbulent water out there. The winds can play tricks on you. The Budweiser holding well, though, that brand new boat. This is really the first taste of competition for the Budweiser. The Executone Telephones in lane number 2 coming down to complete lap number 1. The Bud and the Executone Telephones. The Budweiser with the lead. Cropfeld ahead of Scott Pierce. Third place, American Speedy Printing and Andy Coker. It looks right now that possibly the Executone Telephone has the better speed in the straightaway, but the Bud's doing well in the turns. Cropfeld, a keen driver, a nifty driver, especially in lane number 1. He holds his position as well as anybody, and he can hug those buoys with the best of them. Cropfeld in lane number 1, the Executone Telephones in lane 2 with a slight lead now, going down the back chute for the second time. What a wonderful race. The Budweiser falling back a little bit, however. There goes the Executone Telephones and Scotty Pierce. A Merlin engine for the Executone Executone against the Griffin engine of the Budweiser. Scott Pierce driving the race of his life right now, and he knows he's going against one of the best in Cropfeld. Scott Pierce, a very, very good limited driver, has done a lot of competitive racing in that level. Has not done that much deck-to-deck racing in the Unlimiteds, however, and it's a different world compared to the Limiteds. But Scott Pierce in first place here in Heat 2A in Syracuse, New York. There's the battle for third and fourth. Third place right now, the American Speedy Printing and Andy Coker against Jerry Hopp and the Oboy Oberto. The Budweiser falling back. Looks like Cropfeld's trying to switch lanes. Yeah, he's gone to the outside, trying to pick up on lane number 2. In the meantime, coming around the south turn, you see the lead by Executone Telephones. Jim Cropfeld trying to get used to that new boat. It's got a lot of dialing in to do yet. They've got to do a lot of things to the sponsons, lighten them up a little bit before it'll be running the kind of speeds they want. And I'm talking about laps of 130, 135, even higher in competition. Executone Telephones, first place with Scott Pierce. In second place, still the Budweiser. Keep an eye on Jim Cropfeld getting out into lane number 2. He likes to be on the outside. Can drive well in lane number 1, but it's a little tougher for a driver who is ahead of him to see that boat coming up on the outside. However, a nifty, very healthy lead right now for Executone Telephone. Keep in mind, too, this is only Heat 2A, the final preliminary heat. Crunch time comes during the final, of course, and that'll be our next race. The Budweiser, as you see the Executone crew watching, is beginning to pick up a little bit. Yeah, Cropfeld coming up on Scott Pierce on the outside as they go around another turn. Both boats around 115 miles per hour on this, so this is the fastest heat by far of the day. Scott Pierce not looking back, going down the back chute now, holding on to first place in Heat 2A. American Speedy Printing in third place, going by in the foreground. Here comes Jim Cropfeld in the backstretch. In lane number 2, he's moved slightly ahead of Pierce. I'm really surprised to see this kind of race so early in the day. They want to save those engines. The Budweiser has burned up a couple of engines in testing here in Lake Onondaga in Syracuse, and I know they want to be careful for the final, but right now, nice little battle going between Cropfeld and Scotty Pierce coming down the main chute. They're about to complete lap number 4 of this 5-lap heat. The Budweiser, Jim Cropfeld. Executone crew, they know they've fallen back into second place, but this one isn't over yet. Look at this, Cropfeld holding on to lane number 2. You can hear the crowd in the background, getting to see some wonderful racing. As Cropfeld, a 5-time national champion in the limited level, driving the very famous Country Boy limited boat in the 225 cubic inch class. He's in first place now ahead of Scott Pierce. He's still holding in lane number 2, however, so Scott Pierce has the lane if he can get the horsepower and the speed going down the back chute to catch the Budweiser. There you see the rough line on the part of the Budweiser. Things like that you won't see once it's dialed in a little bit better. Riding a little heavy on the sponsons, as we said earlier. The skid fin digging in. You see the Oboy Oberto. It is dead in the water in the south turn. The Budweiser having to go wide. Executone Telephone on the inside, and now it's a sprint for the finish line. Executone Telephones, lane number 1. The Bud in lane 2. Here comes the finish between Pierce and Cropfeld. It goes to the Budweiser, winner of Heat 2A. So the Budweiser with a perfect day so far. 800 points, 2 first-place finishes. Executone Telephones with a second place. And doing himself proud was Scott Pierce in the Executone. Let's take another look at that incredible finish between the Bud and the Executone Telephones. The Budweiser took the lead about 30 feet in front of the finish line, as you see here, just getting the victory. Down to Jim Hendrick in the pits.
Let's find out exactly why that was a run for the roses.
Too bad it wasn't the final heat, eh?
Oh, listen, did you know, when did you make the move on it? What happened?
Well, I watched, I thought we'd kind of run easy for a couple laps and feel each other out, but Scotty decided to go ahead after about halfway through that first lap, so I said, well, go ahead. I laid back and watched what he was doing, and I thought, well, I would be better off. He saved me plenty of room on the inside. I thought, well, I would be better off on the outside.
Why'd you come back to the pit so fast?
Well, I had to come across the last turn on turn 4 on the last lap. I had a backfire, and that's bad news, so I came in.
Quite a battle with Scotty Pearson. I believe right now Don Poyer's with Scotty.
Scotty, that was probably one of the most tremendous races I've seen since maybe 1973-74.
Well, we didn't finish first, so it wasn't that tremendous to me.
But it was a great performance, though. I think you gave the fans there an awfully great show.
Yeah, and it was real good to, you know, the Executive Hotel football ran good, and it was good to see Miss Budweiser ran good. We were running pretty good out there.
A key here, though, is you got a feel, finally, of what the Bud can do, right?
Mm-hmm. So we got to see what we have in our bag of tricks for the next tee, don't we?
A new feature for 1985 is on deck. That and more as we continue from Syracuse, New York.